Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and I am here once again to do a live stream. I wanted to welcome each and every one of you. I know that some of you people don't know I'm on here yet. That's okay. I didn't exactly tell you exactly what time it was either. I just told you I would have a live stream tonight. I hope you guys were monitoring and observing because here I am, folks. And I know you guys have been eagerly awaiting. The reason it took me so long is that I had 2 days off in a row. Yesterday, I had to do a ton of cooking. And when the cooking was done, of course, I was so tired, I couldn't make a note for nothing. So I spent the entire day today making notes for all of you. I've had this plan for a long time, but finally I got a chance to sit down and make the notes that you guys want to see, and we're going to talk about everything. First of all, Survival on a Budget Made Easy. I did watch one of your videos and I have reviewed it. That's going to happen more often as long as I'm not have to work these 40-hour work weeks. I'm just like, I can't take this anymore. It's not that I don't enjoy work. Okay. It's just that 40-hour work week does definitely take away from me doing this. And it's like, I want to be here for you guys. Right now, I can't exactly afford to not be at almost 40 hours a week. But if I get my partnership back, I'll be here with you guys a lot more often. It's that simple. I just need the money. And the reason I need the money is not necessarily because of my living expenses. It has nothing to do with that. What it has to do with is the fact that I cannot do the kind of research you guys want me to do and develop all the stuff that you guys want me to develop unless I got the money, I got the resources. The books are expensive. They're not cheap, folks. And if I'm going to do that kind of whatever, I've got to have the books. But anyway, I wanted to start this particular video off and saying that it has been kind of cool, kind of warm. It hasn't really been like totally ice freezing cold around here. It was over Christmas time, I can tell you that. When it came to like Christmas Day, that was freezing. I am not kidding you. We all about froze over Christmas. But now it's been kind of an up and down thing. We did actually have a tornado. It never really touched the ground, so I would have to say more like a funnel cloud. But a funnel cloud did actually pass over the city of Decatur. And some of the winds from that funnel cloud actually hit the Playmore lanes. So there was some damage over there. That's not too far from my house. So you can imagine how I felt about all that. But it has turned cooler. It's not like bitterly cold out there, but the nights are really kind of cold and the days aren't so bad. There you go. Anyway, the last time I did a live stream, I know I was pretty enthusiastic at the time. I had just gotten off of a 37-hour work week. And I was kind of stressed out, and I wanted to get this live stream up. It was the first time I'd had a real chance, and my enthusiasm, whatever, was just right in there, and bam, there we go. And I'm sorry I was over the edge on that one. What I meant to say was that there are certain things I need you guys to learn so I can present more material to you. Okay? And that's what I was talking about, is that the things I need you guys to learn affects the future presentations I'm getting ready to give to you guys, like, say, tonight. Because if you don't comprehend what I've already taught you, then you're probably not going to comprehend the things I'm about to teach you. It's the way it works. Okay, so I'd like to begin this particular presentation by addressing a person by the name of Dorper Systems. And that is because he found my video, which is entitled, let's go over here, LPC, ISA, and PCI bus. Now, I definitely have full intentions of correcting a lot of the material that was in there. He said that a lot of the material that I presented in that video was wrong. I would go with a different word. Instead of wrong, I would say sloppy. It was really sloppy. I'll have to give you that. The terms that I used in the video were correct. Those were the correct terms. It's just the way I described how they worked that was incorrect. And that was due to sloppy research. That's 100%. That is exactly what it had to do with. I did not do the proper research I should have done to make that kind of a video. But I hope you noticed a couple of things right off the bat. And I really like to see if you actually noticed this or not. And please let me know if you did. Number one, did you notice how the title was like super bland? Did you actually notice that there was, I don't even think there was anything in the description box, to be honest with you. Oh, let's see. I don't know. Okay. Well, I didn't write very much in the description box. I did have some hashtags in there, but I really didn't put that much. And I can guarantee you when I first put that video out, I didn't put anything in the description box. Later on, I thought, well, let's give it a shot. Let's put some stuff in the description box, and there you go. But I'm sure you also noticed there are no thumbnails on this thing. It's just me and my face. That's the thumbnail. Did you ever ask yourself why I did that? Well, initially, I thought only the people that were interested in that topic would ever look that video up. And at the time, I was thinking, here I had all these videos up there, and hardly any of them were being watched. Even though I was monetized at the time, this thing was hardly being watched. It's like, well, if they're not going to watch this video anyway, why bother putting a big old title and a big old thumbnail and a this and a that and 20? And I don't think the thumbnail thing was all that whatever it was at that time. I know that you can put up your own custom thumbnail now, but at that time, I wasn't even thinking thumbnail. And later on, like I said, I put the hashtags in there, and that was that. So it really came down to, I knew it wasn't going to be an exciting video. I did put it with my computer videos. I thought, well, if they go through the playlist, they'll watch it, and they'll, maybe somewhat along the line, we'll comment on it, and maybe we'll do something a little more depth. It wasn't until you came along that, and this has been many years later. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and pull up some of the analytics on this video and show you just how unpopular this particular video is. Let's see. That's 28 days. Let's go for last year. In the last year, this video has been watched 108 times. Now, that's the view count. It has only generated for me basically 4 hours. So you're talking about 240 minutes of watch time. That's it. Woo, that was exciting. And so watching these analytics, and of course, you think over, like, say, the lifetime of the video. Okay, it's had 35 hours of watch time over the entire life of the video, and it's been watched 973 times. And it's gained me 7 subscribers. So it's not been one of the worst videos I've ever done, but it's not been one of the best either. If you compare that to the analytics, and let me see if I can go back, and I'll go back for you. Let's see, analytics. Let's contrast that with, hang on. I wanted to show you some contrast here. So you're like, wait, what? It's taken a minute, so bear with me. There we go. If you were to contrast that with one of my more popular videos, one of my more popular videos is adding minutes to a prepaid cellular telephone. Let's contrast it. In the last 28 days, this particular video has been watched over 1,000 times. And the watch time on it has, well, I mean, 25 hours of watch time in the last 28 days. That ought to tell you something. And that's why I didn't really go and address the PCI bus video, because it really wasn't. I mean, 4 hours and 28 days compared to that video, which the smartphone tutorial that I did, it's generating me 25 hours of watch time in 28 days. Yeah, I'm going to put my priorities on that. And what's really interesting is that the people, they watch that particular video, the one about the smartphone. They watch that particular video, but they never read the description of the video and go on to my 7-part smartphone tutorial and watch all 7 parts of that. And like, why? I mean, you don't even read the description box, honestly. Even when I put in the title of the video to actually read the description box. There you go. I think I even put in the actual thumbnail, pointed to it, say, you must read the description box. Anyway. So, like I said, I didn't really have my priorities on. Besides, I've been working like a dog. And so if I'm working like a dog, and on top of that, this thing's not going to get very many hits, I'm not going to put a high priority on it until somebody really gives me a very good comment and a video response, which that's exactly what you did. And I watched your video response, and like I said, what I did in that particular video was more sloppy than it was wrong. It was poor research, honestly. And now tonight we're going to show you what better research is. Since you made that comment, I think it would be more appropriate at this point to go ahead and update the whole thing. And so I'm going to do a series of videos, which is going to lead up to that one. And then I'll put a link to my entire series of videos that will send people from that video to those and hopefully update them quite a bit. So anyway, that's what's been going on here. And what's been going on this week? Not a whole heck of a lot. We did get a little snow today, but it quickly melted off. So hopefully these new videos will become even more popular than the one that you watched and then you sent a video response back to me. And I hope that people will watch this and say, okay, he's now correcting what was wrong with his video. I'm going to leave the old video up in the hopes that, one, people will actually read the description box of that video, which will send them to these new videos, which will update all the material from that. And two, to test these people to see if they'll even bother to see if I've updated anything. And I'd like to see their comments on that particular video to see if they even bother to read the description box and say, oh, maybe he updated this stuff. Duh. Anyway. So, how are you all guys tonight? If you are not here live, please, by all means, leave comments down below. I read them. I'll check them out. I see I have somebody in the room right now. Hello. I'm glad to see you. Anyway, let's get this show on the road because we have a lot of stuff to cover. One of the first things I'm going to cover is the word punctuation. The main reason for that is I did some English etymology, and I never got around to doing this particular video until now. So it is about time to actually do this one, and we'll see how this goes. Now, before I begin, and whoever's in the room right now, please let me know who you are, because I have absolutely no idea. Just let me know who you are, and I'll say hello. But anyway, Before I begin, I wanted to let everybody know I still have those 5 Kindle books. If you guys ever want to read them, go ahead and let me know. I'll send you links, and you can go and read the books and let me know what you think of them. Okay, it's time to get this ball of wax on the road here. Here in my old trusty camera. For those of you who don't know, the main reason I actually make these smaller videos while I do all this is because I don't want people to have to go through an entire live stream just to find the part that they're looking for and say, oh, that's what I wanted to see. That way they can see it in a separate video and say, okay, yeah, I can see that, and I can learn that topic without having to learn about 5 or 6 others at the same time. That's why I do this. Furthermore, it also allows people to see, oh, I got 2 people in my live stream now. Oh, Rapid Sloth. Hi. Hello, Rapid Sloth. I'm glad to see you here. And it allows these people to see what I do. You're actually seeing me make these little tiny videos, and you can see what I was up to. All right. Enough talking. I've shared enough as it is. But if you come in this room, please let me know who you are. That way I can talk to you like I was talking to Rapid Sloth. I'm glad you're here. But we need to get down to the steak and potatoes of all this. This is the learning channel. This is what you're going to do. You're going to learn. Okay, here we go. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to teach you about punctuation. I'm going to teach you the etymology of punctuation, and I'm going to give you a few facts about punctuation, okay? But before I begin, I want to tell you guys that I have Kindle books. I have 5 of them. They have been published, and if you want to read any of them, you let me know in the comments below, and then I will send you a link to my latest one. You can start with that first, and then I'll send you a link to the other 4. Eventually, I'm going to publish 2 more Kindle books. One's going to be entitled Did You Remember Everything Part 2? And the second one's going to be entitled PTCB on a Budget. I have decided that when it comes to Did You Remember Everything Part 2, I'm going to give you a bonus book called What Square on a Straight Line? It's going to be a comprehensive study on Euclid Book 10. I know you're going to look forward to that. Okay. And you're like, oh, you're going to give us more education? Yes, I am. Anyway, let's get into punctuation. Punctuation, the etymology of this thing is, it comes from the Latin word punctus, which means to pierce. And in ancient history, the Greek people rarely placed spaces between words or used punctuation to emphasize the end of sentences. It was usually the task of Greek scholars to read scrolls and correctly interpret the text before orally presenting the text to a crowd of mostly illiterate people. Okay? And this was before the 1st century, so you can just about imagine how many of these people were not functionally literate. Okay? This became an arduous task. So we're going to use our imaginations tonight. We're going to climb aboard a plane, and we're going to fly all the way to a library that almost ceased to exist due to a fire. The library I'm referring to is the Library of Alexandria. Now, I want you to imagine that you've just met one of the librarians, and this is a big-wig librarian. The name of this librarian is Aristophanes. Part of his job is to read the scrolls inside the library so he can catalog them properly. Now, can you imagine this guy reading these scrolls without punctuation or capital letters or anything that would indicate the end of one sentence and the beginning of the next? Yeah. So, like I said, there were 3 problems with these texts. The first is the lack of punctuation, obviously. The second problem was the lack of spacing between words. That'd be more fun. The final problem is some of the authors of these texts refused to use capital letters in their text. So how could you tell where one sentence ended and another one began? That was a challenge. Well, finally, Aristophanes had enough. He created the first punctuation marks ever used in ancient texts. Many Greek and Roman authors adopted these punctuation marks early on. No one in the 21st century would be able to immediately recognize any of these marks because they're not like ours. They're not like the comma, the semicolon, the whole 9 yards. But if someone with experience reading those ancient documents trained these 21st century people on how to interpret these marks, they would finally be able to read those ancient texts. Unfortunately, the Roman Empire finally rejected the punctuation marks of Aristophanes, but Christian authors revived the idea of punctuation marks. It was the work of the Archbishop of Seville named Isidore that made punctuation in text popular. If you want the full story about punctuation, you are welcome to read a web article that I found. I will place a link to this particular web article that I want you guys to read in the description of this particular video. So go ahead and click it, and you'll be able to see it. All right. Well, I want to thank you for tuning in to this particular video. Let me know what you think about it, and I will tell you more in a future video. So I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay, who else is here tonight? Nobody's saying anything. Okay, well, let's go on. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to cover the topic of complementary metal oxide semiconductor. But before I do, I wanted to let everybody know that I have published 5 Kindle books, and if you want to read any of these Kindle books, just leave a comment down below, and I will send you a link to those Kindle books, and you can go read them for yourself. Okay? So a little self-promotion there. But anyway, let's get on with the topic, shall we? All right. A complementary metal oxide semiconductor is composed of a metal that contains at least one atom of oxygen. Because these metals contain oxygen atoms, they are good conductors of electricity. A complementary metal oxide semiconductor in certain respects is similar to a random access memory chip. If a battery wasn't attached to the CMOS chip, it would not be able to maintain all the information that was stored on the chip. In other words, without the electricity from your computer or the battery or both, the CMOS chip would forget everything that it was supposed to remember. And believe me, that would be a disaster on a computer. Okay. At this point, I want you to watch another video that I have just uploaded. It will discuss the computer term BIOS. This computer term is directly related to the term CMOS. I will provide a link to this video that I want you to see in the description of this particular video. Okay. I will also have an in-screen box that you, at the end of this particular video, they will allow you to click on, and then you can go see the video I want you to see. All right. So anyway, I want to thank you very much for watching this particular presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. How am I doing so far, folks? Well, I seem to have bored one person. Oh, well. We shall go on. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to discuss the beginning input-output system, otherwise known as BIOS. Okay, now BIOS is, of course, an acronym, and it stands for the beginning input-output system. Okay, a computer BIOS is a chip that is connected to the central processing unit of a computer. It allows the CPU to communicate properly with computer components like your computer monitor, your keyboard, your hard drive, your sound cards, if you have any, your video cards if you have any of those, and USB components. My introduction to the terms CMOS and BIOS will lead you to a discussion of capacitors in computers. Here's the reason why. These capacitors store electrons. When a capacitor on a computer contains electrons, it is considered to be a 1 in binary. When a capacitor doesn't contain electrons, it's considered to be a 0. That's where your binary comes from. My information about capacitors will lead to two discussions. The first discussion will be about the difference between SDRAM and DDR-RAM. The second discussion will be about the peripheral component interface. I want you to stay tuned for both discussions. Okay? I will definitely tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right. How are we doing tonight? Oh, I got 2 people back again. Whoever you are, let me know who you are. That way I can talk to you. That's why I'm here. Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to cover the topic of heat sink. But before I do, I wanted to let you guys know that I have published 5 Kindle books. If you're interested in any of these books, please let me know in the comments below, and then I will send you a link so you can read my latest one, and so on and so forth. Okay? So anyway, with that out of the way, let me go ahead with my presentation tonight. A heat sink is designed to move heat away from an object that is prone to generate heat. The central processing unit of a computer is a good example of a metallic component in a computer that generates lots of heat when electricity passes through it. Okay. Now, I will now show you an actual heat sink attached to a central processing unit of an old computer. This used to be in an old computer of mine. Okay. As you can see up here, there's a fan. See that fan? Okay. Now, you also see these metal pieces around here. Well, I'm going to get more detailed in a future video about this, okay? Because this is just going to be a brief overview at this point. And if I get any of these details wrong, I'm sure that there's going to be somebody that's going to come around and say, well, you didn't get quite all the details right. Fine. Good. But in the meantime, we know that the fan is drawing heat. The CPU is right here, okay? You can see the CPU is right here. The fan is drawing heat from the CPU. Why is the CPU getting hot? Because it has electricity flowing through it. And this is a big-time conductor of electricity. You get the idea now? And when you have that much of electricity going through the CPU, you're going to generate heat. Trust me. So if you don't want to melt your chip within the first few seconds of running your computer, you will have to have the fan on. Now, what about this metal around here? Okay, this can also gather heat. When you gather the heat from the CPU, you don't want it just going in one direction. You don't want it going like straight up or straight this way or straight that way, because whatever you hit with that thing is going to be hit with the full heat of what was on the CPU. Instead, you want to distribute that heat evenly outside of your computer so that you don't heat up other components while you're trying to keep the CPU cool. Because you're like, well, I kept the CPU cool, but I fried everything else. I don't think you want that to happen. Okay? I have to say at this point that fans aren't the only devices used to cool computer components. And computer components aren't the only devices that need heat sinks. Solar panels could also benefit from heat sinks. Okay? I've seen this in videos. These people have solar panels, and they take a Fresnel lens and they add it to the solar panel, but they also add a heat sink. And this would be some kind of a liquid heat sink to draw the heat away from the solar panel so it doesn't get damaged, okay? And you say, well, why would sunlight through a Fresnel lens, okay, you got you got your sunlight, you got your Fresnel lens. Why would that damage the solar panel? Because the sun rays generate heat. And now you got a concentrated light hitting a solar panel, so it's going to generate more heat. So you want that heat to go somewhere and to be removed from the solar panel. Well, the way you do that is when you have like a bunch of tubes on the back of the solar panel with antifreeze in them. And what happens is that the sunlight hits the solar panel, generates heat, and that heat travels to the antifreeze, and you pump the antifreeze away once it's pulled all the heat out of it. And then the antifreeze goes somewhere else, cools down, then you can reuse it. Okay? But this is a complicated process that I would highly recommend you guys doing a ton of research on how you can build such a device before you actually do it. Because if you don't set up the heat sink properly, or you don't put it in there at all, and you try to use a Fresnel lens, you're going to start a fire. And that's something you don't want to do. So high recommendation, do tons of research, not only on Fresnel lenses, but also on heat sinks to make sure they're set up properly, then implement the whole thing. Because you want those solar panels as cool as possible. Because you get them hot enough, they'll get damaged. You get them really hot, they'll catch on fire. And that you don't want. Okay? So, anyway. All right. Now, does it really matter what kind of antifreeze you use? Well, just make sure it's the kind of antifreeze that can keep the solar panel from getting so hot that it either damages the components or literally catches on fire. You got to make sure of that. So, like I said, you're going to need a ton of research on this. Don't just suddenly rush out and do anything. Make sure you do the research you need to do to make this thing work properly. All right? And that's all I've got to say in this particular video. So I really hope you enjoyed this presentation. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Are you learning anything yet? Oh, we're back down to 1 again. Oh, well. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to teach you about the Fresnel lens. Okay, now I know it's spelled F-R-E-S-N-E-L, but it's pronounced Fresnel. Okay, and some people say it's pronounced Fresnel. Okay, fine, whatever. The point is, we're going to talk about the Fresnel or Fresnel, doesn't matter. We're going to talk about that particular lens. Well, what is this lens? The person who could best answer this question is a guy by the name of Augustin Fresnel. Where will you find this guy? If you look carefully, you just might be able to see his ghost at a nearby lighthouse. Why is that? Using glass in a lighthouse predates Augustin Fresnel. But this type of glass was very thick, and it was also very heavy. The quality of this glass, because it was thick and heavy, was not very good. Okay. Augustin Fresnel had a huge task laying ahead of him. So eventually he designed a pane of glass that looked like a bullseye. The glass design refracted light that was being absorbed. The source of some of this light was obtained from a horizontal direction. The rest of the light was collected from a vertical direction. All of this light was able to be refracted into a single point thanks to the design of the Fresnel lens. Since this light could be focused into a single beam, it could be used to signal ships that were great distances from the local lighthouses. Okay, so you have the lighthouse here, a ship way over here, and this thing could signal the ship that was far, far away. And the ship goes like, oh, there's the lighthouse. Maybe they're sending us a message or something. Who knows? But if you don't own or operate a lighthouse, why would you need to know about the Fresnel lens? Well, up until recently, you would probably care less about such a lens. But the United States government is slowly pressuring people to purchase solar panels. If you need to use a solar panel, you will probably want to use a Fresnel lens. And allow me to tell you the reason why you would want to use a Fresnel lens with a solar panel. The main reason is that you have the sun. Okay, imagine this. The sun rises in the east and it sets in the west. And it never maintains a specific spot in the sky throughout the course of the day. It kind of rises to the top of the sky by midday, and then later on in the afternoon, it starts going down to the western horizon. Okay, so that means that unless your solar panel is repositioned constantly to grab the rays of the sun, well, that sun's going to shine on that solar panel at one point in the day, and that's where you're going to get all your electricity, and the rest of the time you're not going to get deadly squat. This makes the efficiency of your solar panel about 18 to 22%. Well, a Fresnel lens can actually catch those light rays no matter what position the sun is throughout the course of the day or night. There you go. So, that's why you want a Fresnel lens, so that you can get the rays of the sun, whether they're directly above the solar panel or not. As long as that sun's in the sky, you get your power. But there is a trade-off, and that is because of the heat that will be generated as this goes on. Okay? Now, here's the problem. Do you remember what I said in my heat sink video? Sun rays are very hot. They can melt key components in solar panels. And in extreme situations, they can ignite the solar panels, which would cause you to have a fire. So unless you want to burn down your house, or you want to totally torch your solar panel, I strongly urge you to research heat sink technologies before you ever use a Fresnel lens to generate more electricity. If you don't, you could be installing a fire hazard on your roof or the side of your house. Or if you have it in the front yard, it'd be a nice little fireball in the front yard of your house. I don't think you want that. Now, you can learn more about these Fresnel lenses by clicking the link that I have left in the description box of this particular video. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching this particular video. All right. And I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. How's it going, everybody? Are you enjoying these presentations? I hope you are. Okay, let's continue on. But before I do, let's go get something to drink. Good evening, Crazy Josh Cravey. I'm glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. Let me know what you think of all these wonderful presentations. There's going to be a lot of stuff covered. I've already covered several things about solar panels. I'm going to go ahead and cover one more here. I think you're going to find this to be very interesting. Because guess what? Yeah. We are going to use my dry erase board in just a moment. So bear with me. All right, here we go. Good evening, everyone. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and tonight I'm going to cover the topic of visible light spectrum. Okay, and before I do, I wanted to let everybody know that I have published 5 Kindle books. And if you want to read any of them, you let me know in the comments below, and I'll send you a link to the latest one. You can read all 5 if you like, and you let me know what you think of them. All right, enough advertising on my YouTube video. Let's continue on. In order to comprehend all the language of the visible light spectrum, I have to teach you some technical terms. Let's start with a wave, okay? Now, if you have ever taken a surfboard out to an ocean or wherever, a large body of water where you find a lot of waves, and you have ever surfed with a surfboard, this is going to look pretty familiar to you. Those are waves. Okay. So imagine that you are at an ocean with a surfboard and you are surfing on the waves. This will help you understand this a lot better. Okay. Now, the wave starts at a certain point. The crest of the wave, which would be right here or right here, you can see it here or here, okay? The crest of the wave is the top of the wave. When the wave crashes on the beach, it reaches the trough or bottom of the wave, like this here or this here. Now, do you guys remember when I popped up a video entitled Pappas Book 7 Proposition number 238? Well, if you'd have learned that, you would have understood parabolas, because what you're seeing here is one parabola after the next. Isn't that what you're seeing right there? Mm-hmm. That's exactly what you're seeing. And you would have immediately recognized that as I did that. Okay. So if you did not learn from Pappas Book 7, Proposition number 238, I'd like for you to go over there, learn from that, then come back. Okay. So let's just assume that you have actually done this, and let's go on with this presentation. What about the frequency of waves? Well, you know that waves crash onto the shore. Now, when the wave crashes onto the shore, that's a point, okay? So at this point, what you would do is you'd count the number of waves that crash on the beach during a specific period of time. You could say, okay, 4 waves just crashed on the beach in 1 minute. So if you say 4 waves crashed on the beach in just 1 minute, and it's continuing to do this, you could say, well, for every minute that passes, we're getting 4 more new ocean waves. Okay, and that's how you'd measure frequency. But what about wavelength? Okay, this is where you would get your yardstick. Okay, get your yardstick. You go out there and you find 2 waves. Okay, wave number 1, wave number 2. Now you'd put the first end of the yardstick. I'm going to draw it with a line. If I can grab a hold of this. Okay. What you're going to do is you're going to draw a line. You're going to start from right here. This will be the beginning of your yardstick. And then you draw that line. I know it's kind of sloppy, but there you go. And hopefully the other end of the yardstick would touch this wave. Now, if the waves are closer together, obviously it's going to touch like the middle of the stick rather than the very end of it. But between this point and this point, that would be your wavelength. That's what the wavelength is. Okay? Really simple terminology, don't you think? And radio waves work the same way. So you're already getting a lesson about radio waves just as much as you're getting a lesson about light rays. It's the same type of effect. All right. Our eyes can only see certain colors. That's because these colors belong to what is called the visible light spectrum. Okay, our eyes can only see certain kinds of light. Can't see other light that's outside the visible light spectrum. Okay, that's why it's called a visible light spectrum. We can detect wavelengths between 400 nanometers. Now, nanometers are really, really tiny. So you got 400 nanometers, and this is called the violet light spectrum, and 700 nanometers, which is called the red light spectrum. Okay? The other colors we see are between the 400 nanometer and the 700 nanometer light spectrum lengths. Okay. Why is all this important? Because solar panels can absorb a certain part of the light spectrum. That means that when the light actually hits the solar panel, it is not absorbing or harnessing enough of the light spectrum to generate all the electricity that you would want. So, in a future video, I'm going to discuss how to overcome something like this. And what we're going to talk about, what we're going to actually discuss, is something called an axially graded index lens. If you have one of these axially graded index lenses, you can overcome this limitation. In the meantime, I hope you check out the description box of this video. I have left a link to a web article that discusses the visible light spectrum. I didn't just leave one link, I left two, so you can go and check those out. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. All right. Doberman. Yeah, saying hello to me. All right, DK Ben ZZ, what's the topic here? Well, the first topic was when I was talking about CPUs and CMOS and BIOS. The second topic was solar panels. Okay. All right. Crazy Josh Cravey says, good to see the recent content from you. I'm hoping to get a new video out soon, and in it, I will have an excitement announcement about the future of my channel. Well, I'm looking forward to that as well. So anyway, I hope you're learning something here. Now, why would I present any of this? Okay. Well, the first topic I was presenting in this live stream was a partial correction to my PCI bus video. Okay. The second topic here has to do with Duke Energy and what happened in North and South Carolina over Christmas. Okay. And trust me, you don't want what happened to them happening to you. So we're trying to give you some ideas on how to make sure that doesn't happen to you. Okay. But we're going to get into some more fun topics here. And these will also be very informative. And you can check them out. All right. This video response is going to go out to Michael Martin Murphy, and that's because you uploaded first a song and then a music video entitled Wildfire. Okay. I have heard this song for years. I actually thoroughly enjoy the song, and I'll get in that just a little bit later. But I listened to your song, I watched your video, and I decided to ask you a few questions about your song. Okay. All right. According to the lyrics, who is this she you keep referring to, and where is Yellow Mountain? How cold was it that night? Who said she died one winter? Why did she name the pony Wildfire? The lyrics say she died. Are we to presume that Wildfire died also? And how did Wildfire break down his stall? And why did Wildfire break down... How did he break down the stall, and why did Wildfire break down his stall? That's what I was asking. Did anyone try to stop, quote, her from chasing her horse? Now, later on in the song, you talk about crops that you're planting. What were you planting? How much snow did you actually receive? How does the owl indicate to you that she is coming for you? Now, I did take the time to read a web article about sod. I will leave a link to that article in the description box of this particular video. Basically, sod is rolled up grass. I gather that the person being described in the lyrics is some kind of a farmer. But why was he sod busting? Now, the piano playing in the song at the beginning and at the end of the song is just beautiful. The song tells a simple story that most people could relate to if they know anything about farming. You can also hear violins and a guitar in this song. They are perfectly blended together. I give this song an A. All right. If you're watching this video right now and you happen not to be Michael Martin Murphy, please go over to his YouTube channel. watch his videos, rate his videos, comment on his videos, subscribe to his channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell him that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Okay. Nothing else so far? Okay, we'll just keep right on going. This video response is going to go out to Luke Bryan, and that's because you uploaded a music video entitled Most People Are Good. I watched your video and I also heard your song several times, and I decided to ask you a few questions about your lyrics and to do some commentary about your lyrics. But before I do, anybody that's watching this, I wanted to let you guys know that I have published 5 Kindle books, and you are more than welcome to read any of them. If you are interested, leave a comment down here in the comments below, and I will send you a link to those books. So please, by all means, let me know. All right. Let's get into this, shall we? According to the lyrics, in some ways, I have to agree with Luke Bryan when he states that kids should climb trees. But parents need to know that certain trees are poisonous and they should never be touched. And there is no harm in showing children how to spot poison ivy and nests of stinging insects. And why shouldn't parents teach their children how to identify potentially dangerous animals? Just some thought there. Children covering their hands with dirt isn't a problem with me as far as that's concerned, but they should be taught proper hygiene. When you're done playing, clean your hands. And I also believe that we should forgive others that are truly repentant. But if they're not repentant at all, we shouldn't be so quick to forgive them. I also believe in a good work ethic. But if someone isn't paying you what you are truly worth, then you need to find an employer that truly values your work. Of course, you have to see things from an employer's point of view as well. Maybe the person that he's employing or she's employing really doesn't work as well as they think they do. And if they're just constantly on their phones or they're getting distracted somehow and not doing the kind of work that they need to do, just keep that in mind when they ask for a raise or they ask for more hours at work, especially if they don't show up to their job like they're supposed to. Anyway, I believe that all mothers should be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. I agree that there are many mothers out there who do qualify for sainthood, but I feel like the song lyrics are not completely balanced. Did he ever mention what he considers a mother that doesn't qualify for sainthood? Well, I didn't see anything. Why do you have to attend a ball game on a Friday night? You could attend a movie or some demolition derby or even a dance or even dance the night away at some local club. Maybe you could even attend a concert. In the summertime, the sun sets later in the evening. So why wait until the sun sets to participate in an activity on a Friday night? Or you could find some secluded place, maybe in a wooded area, whatever, and just stare at the stars. Why not be illuminated by the stars? Pretty. Or the moon, you can be illuminated by that. So what about the lyric about you should love who you love? This is not agape love that he has indicated in his lyric. Why would this lyric be problematic? Well, it depends on where you live and in what century you live in as to how problematic this lyric becomes. Let's examine the life and times of people who lived in Judea prior to the 1st century. In those days, unfortunately, women didn't have any rights. That meant that they didn't own anything. Their fathers owned everything until the lady got married. Then her husband owned everything until her male children were considered adults. Then, if the husband passed away, the lady was basically owned by her sons until she passed away. So alternative lifestyles were often frowned upon for that very reason. But what happened in the 1st century? Okay, you're in Judea, now it's the 1st century. There were women that finally got some rights, okay? But this was an agrarian society. In other words, this is a farming community, okay? Now, that meant that everybody had to participate. You couldn't just, there was nothing where you just mined for minerals or something like that. Your job was a farmer. You were to grow crops, and then you were to sell those crops at the market. So everybody had to participate. The more children you had, the better off your farm was, because you would have more workers for the farm. But if something happened to at least one of your kids or more, whether it be war or famine or anything, it was devastating to the family, because that was one less person to work on the farm. That's what it was. And that could be very problematic. So because of the environment they were in, well, alternative lifestyles were not well regarded. Okay? I'm sure they happened, but they weren't always the best. Now, of course, in our modern era, things have radically changed. Okay? Robots do most of the manufacturing. Robots do most of the farming. As a matter of fact, you could often find yourself almost alone in your house. You know, you're trying to run a business all by yourself. But here's the thing. When people don't have children, there are problems with managing your estate. Okay? Got to go somewhere. You don't want the government to get a hold of it, at least not all of it. You have to give them something, but you don't have to give them everything you got. And then you've got the problem of who are you going to talk to? I mean, if you don't have any kids, you always aren't going to have any grandkids. So then you're going to be lonely, very, very lonely. And that's not a good position to be in. So these kind of problems that could be created because you decide to pursue an alternative lifestyle. Doesn't always happen that way, but it can. So it's, getting married is probably one of the best things you can do. If that choice is available to you, and not just getting married, but having kids as well. It really could be. Well, if you don't end up lonely, there you go. Anyway, let's go on. I'm pretty sure you're not referring to Real Streets of Gold, so I'm not really sure what you're referring to. Overall, the song is pretty pleasant to listen to. The lyrics of the song stand out more than the melody or the harmony. Based on the lyrics, however, I have to give this song a C. And that's because it brings up a lot of political topics that's hard to, balance out. So anyway, that's all I've got to say on that one. If you want to answer any of all these questions or do any commentary on any of this, you are welcome to Luke Bryan. You can leave some comments in the comments below. And if you're not Luke Bryan and you're watching this right now, feel free to go over to Luke Bryan's YouTube channel, watch his videos, rate his videos, comment on his videos, subscribe to his channel if you'd like, and more importantly, tell him that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Whew. What are your favorite genres of music to analyze? Well, you have to keep in mind that I grew up with very popular disco. Okay, now what made disco so popular really wasn't it wasn't what everybody thought. You have to keep in mind that the first people I ever listened to were the Carpenters, Karen and Richard Carpenter, okay? And they would incorporate a lot of musical instruments. This is why there were a lot of Queen songs that I fell in love with, because they didn't just use a guitar and a synthesizer. They actually brought in violins and all this other stuff. The same way with ELO, okay? That was the same type of deal with ELO. So you're kind of getting a picture here of this kind of stuff. This is why I fell in love with the music of Olivia Newton-John and also the Bee Gees and ABBA. They incorporated all of these melodies and harmonies, and they would have a chorus and a cappella, and of course they would also incorporate violins and trumpets and that kind of thing. This is what Earth, Wind, and Fire did. So that's the kind of music I fell in love with. And you could tell this in every song that I review that give an A to or whatever. That is the kind of music I really got myself into. Anything that just, if it's as bland as a saltine cracker, I'm not going to listen to it. If it's just nothing but political garbage, I'm not going to listen to it. See what I mean? So, and you're about to see what I'm talking about when I review my next song. So anyway, let's go into the next review I'm going to do. Here we go. This video response is going to go out to Ariana Grande, and that's because you uploaded a music video entitled 7 Rings. I watched your video, I listened to your lyrics, and I decided to ask you a few questions about your video and your lyrics. And before I do, I wanted to let everybody know that I have published 5 Kindle books. If you are interested in any of them, feel free to leave me a comment down below, and I will send you a link to my latest Kindle book, and you can read all 5 if you want. All right, let's get into this. We're going to start by examining the music video first. Why is everything in your video purple? Excuse me. And why is there an old clunker car in your yard? And what substance is on top of that car? It looks like snow or heavy dust. And your neighbors haven't complained about the noise? Or maybe you bought every house in the neighborhood, and if you're that rich, why are you living in such a small house to begin with? What was everyone drinking in the music video? And what is the name of the dog? I'd like to know that as well. All right. According to the lyrics, I wasn't aware that Tiffany's was still open for business. Thank you for letting me know. And I wasn't aware that you could eat breakfast at Tiffany's either. What did you eat for breakfast? What tattoos did you acquire? And what kind of trouble did you get yourself into? I mean, I hate to think you went to jail or anything like that. How long do you like your eyelashes? And how many pieces of diamond jewelry do you own? That'd be interesting to find out. If you buy your favorite things yourself, how will anyone buy any gifts for you? What awful things have happened to you? I'm kind of curious about that as well. Why should you be sad just because a few bad things happen to you? I mean, you just gotta have to be like a duck. Let the water run off your back. That kind of thing. Anyway. Do the phone calls keep you warm in your bed? Do the calls help you in your hour of need? Why would you write a check in a society that is accustomed to paying everything with a bank card? I didn't know that people use checks that often anymore unless they were my age or older. I wonder how much you paid for your lip gloss. And think, if you had just grown your hair out, it would have been free. If you're not going to be a missus, then these rings you buy, were they for sentimental value? Did they help you remember some acquaintance, maybe some relative or something? I'd like to know. Why would you buy diamond rings for all your friends? What did they do for you that motivated you to buy diamond rings for all of them? I'd like to know. Now, money can actually bring you as many problems to your doorstep than it can. Money can take problems away from your life, but it can also bring you a lot more problems on your doorstep. Just keep that in mind. If happiness is the same price as red bottoms, there must not be all that. It must not be a real value, because true happiness is truly priceless. So if it has a price, must not be all that valuable. And you turned your house into one large closet? I would take the time to ask you more questions about your lyrics, but I find most of your lyrics boring. I mean, does the word narcissism mean anything to you? Avarice? Anyone? A great chunk of this song sounds like a dripping faucet. That's what it sounds like to me. It just drove me nuts. I can safely say that the things you buy today may not last a lifetime. And for those things that do, well, and they don't generate long-lasting pleasant memories either. I mean, you'll have pleasant memories for a while, but Long lasting? I doubt that. Based on what I have just heard and what I saw in that music video, I pretty much have to give this song a D grade. It has expletives in it, which I don't agree with. And the general theme of this whole music video is just basically retail greed. Oh, just put it in the sack, put it in the sack, buy this, buy that. Ebenezer Scrooge, anyone? Really? All right. Feel free to leave the answers to any and all these questions or whatever down here in the comments below. And if you happen not to be Ariana Grande and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to Ariana Grande's YouTube channel, watch her videos, rate her videos, comment on her videos, subscribe to her channel if you'd like. And more importantly, tell her that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Woo! What elements do I think make up the perfect song? Okay. It's going to vary from song to song. First of all, a good melody and a good harmony works. And a perfect blend of your instruments, like your saxophone and a flute or violins or trumpet playing or whatever, blending that together makes a more perfect song. Also, making songs about real life. You don't have to go through politics or anything like that. A real song would just be everyday life. Honestly, that would be a more perfect song. And you find this all the time. Michael Martin Murphey's Wildfire, I just reviewed it. You saw simplistic lyrics. It was about a horrible tragedy, but it's just a little local thing. You know, some kid dies, the horse dies, the guy grows up, he becomes a farmer, boom, ba-doo-doo, and eventually he dies as well. There you go. Simple, plain, no really political anything. Now, I will discuss in a future video John Lennon's Imagine. This was a tough one because some of the lyrics I agree with, some of them I do not. And you're going to find out how hard it would be to review that song. The whole music is pleasant. It's just some of the lyrics just rub me the wrong way. And you'll find that out. But I will do a video on that soon. Okay? But I do have one more video to do right now. And this is coming down here. All right. This video response is going to go out to Survival on a Budget Made Easy, and that is because you uploaded a video entitled Pike County New Water Tower Part 1. I watched your entire video, and I had a few questions about your video, but before I begin, I wanted to let everybody know that I have published 5 Kindle books, and you are more than welcome to read any of them. Leave me a comment down below, and I will definitely send you a link to my latest one, and you can go read it for yourself. Okay? Anyway, let's go ahead here. At the one point, well, the almost a minute, when you go through the minute and a half part of the video, when you go through the first like 90 seconds of the video, you showed a water tower. How tall is this water tower? And how old is this water tower? And what are those square devices that surround the top of the water tower? Almost look like cell phone towers or something like that. I don't know. As for the water tower at the end of the fireworks parking lot, how old is that water tower? That appeared to be very old. And how tall is the third water tower in your video? Now, how many people actually live in the town of Winslow, Indiana? And how old is the Pike Gibson Water Tower? And how large is the Petersburg Park? Feel free to leave the answers to all these questions down here in the comments below. And if you happen not to be Survival on a Budget Made Easy, and you're watching this video right now, feel free to go over to Survival on a Budget Made Easy's YouTube channel, watch his videos, rate his videos, comment on his videos, and subscribe to his channel if you'd like. And more importantly, tell him that the Speed Learner sent you. All right, I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. Woo. Would I ever write a song? That's a very good question. If you'll give me about 60 seconds, I'll answer that question. Be right back. Don't go away. Golly, I'm glad you were so patient. I was drinking a lot of water, and when the water gets to you, it gets to you. But anyway, would I ever write a song? Well, how about this? What if I gave you an idea for you to write a song? Okay, now think about this for a second. I know this is going to be tough for you to believe. Let me shut this off. There we go. I know this could be hard for you to believe, but there are people in this world, and I'm one of them. When you see the Christmas decorations come down, and all the parties from Christmas and New Year's are over, and things return to what I would consider a certain level of normalcy, that's tough. I mean, it's almost like a huge letdown. This was kind of covered when Barry Manilow sang "It's Just Another New Year's Eve," or when ABBA sang "Happy New Year." If you've really read the lyrics of "Happy New Year," you'll get it. It's like you got this buildup, and then you have the party, and then all of a sudden there's this like a wave crashing on a beach. And I've never seen anybody write lyrics to a song that would deal with something like this. That would be more interesting. How often do you see a song like that? Would I write song lyrics? Probably not, because I'm not a poet, and more importantly, I just don't have really any real musical talent. I couldn't, even if I wrote a poem, I really couldn't set it to music. You seem to have more of that talent than I do. But yeah, if you really wanted a tough but good idea, why don't you write a song about how a person feels? It's after Christmas, after New Year's, all of a sudden everything's starting to return to normal. And that feeling, that sinking feeling of all that being over and nothing to look forward to. You know, it does. It's a feeling that okay, Crazy Josh Cravey says, I quite enjoyed your song idea. It immediately sparked some great imagery in my mind. Thank you. Yeah, see, people don't think about stuff like this, but they should. How do these people handle that? You know, you watch the Christmas sales and they're all gone, and you watch, especially if you work in retail, you watch all this Christmas stuff marked down 50-60% off, and after a while, you've been listening to Christmas music for 2 solid months, and all of a sudden it just changes. It doesn't gradually change; it is gone. The radio stations change to a regular format, so on and so forth. But you never thought about that, huh? How do you deal with that? That's something to think about. That would be the ultimate after Christmas song. Bet it'd become real popular if you really put your mind to it. You come in the store, you see all the Christmas decorations being sold, and especially with me, you feel one way about watching the Kmart Christmas video that you can find right there on YouTube. You feel one way about it before Christmas, and then you feel a completely different feeling after Christmas. Really, you have no idea how it feels afterwards. You almost like you yearn for it, but it's not there anymore. And I tell you, when I was a kid, I live here in Decatur, and they had a place called Landmark Mall. And I tell you, back in those days, you talk about Christmassy, it was Christmassy. It was really decorated, really done wonderful. That's not coming back. I mean, I have a Kmart, or used to, right across the street from me. Whoa. Of course, I don't Kmart anymore. So you're like, wait, what? That's gone. I mean, the Burger Chef that we used to have, we had more than one actually, gone. I mean, you go to Brentwood Village in Decatur or Northgate Mall, those used to be hip hop happening places around Christmas time. Not anymore. Never thought about that, huh? I miss those things. They ain't there no more. So yeah, I hope you take up my idea and try to express that in a song, because that's gonna be tough for you. How you feel either after Christmas or just simply having those memories of what used to be Christmas, and it's gone. It's not there anymore. Especially with retail outlets, you go to these places and you're like, wow, this was great. And it's just not there. So there you go. I hope I gave you a very brilliant idea. Okay, Crazy Josh Cravey says, reminds me of gradual change. Even in the last 10 years, I've seen areas I know transform with large construction. You are absolutely correct on that. Only here, nothing takes its place. It's just gone. I cannot tell you how many empty buildings we have around here. You'd be shocked how many empty buildings we have. And that's tough. That's really tough. So hopefully I gave you some ideas, and I'd be happy to give you more. Honestly, I really would happily give you more. If you ever ask me, I'll do it. But hopefully you're learning from me my unique perspectives on not only movies, music, you name it. The only reason why I went ahead and covered some of the solar panel stuff, and I'm going to be covering more stuff, believe it or not. You're like, more? Yeah. Do you know that if you use a stereo speaker properly with a long tube, you can actually generate heat and air conditioning? Like, whoa, I didn't know you could do that. I'm going to talk about that in a future video, and it's coming. But what I've talked to you about so far will keep you, going with all this. So, Crazy Josh Cravey says, I always find your movie and TV show reviews most interesting. You think about stories in ways most people don't. You're right, because I have very different experiences. Okay? You have to keep in mind that when I was a kid, I lived in a very small town. The excitement was going to the water tower with the alcohol and just sitting up there. Yeah, that wasn't exciting, trust me. Okay? We had 2 stores in the town, just 2. Ooh, and they were small too. And they're nice stores, don't get me wrong, they're just small, okay? And you got to keep in mind, for 6 years before I moved into that town, I lived in Decatur, okay? And so every week, my family actually traveled to Decatur to buy groceries and stuff like that. That's just what we did. And I used to experience things like Godfather's Pizza and I knew all the malls, I knew all the shopping areas, you name it, I knew it all. And it was much more exciting going there than it was being back in the small town I was in. Nice little town, very quiet, great. But I see you call you tell you a story of how everyone in the town knew each other and they all knew you. Well, at that time they did. Now today a lot of things have changed in that town. Some people moved out, new people moved in. They don't know me as well as they used to. So, there you go. But back in the day, yeah, practically I knew all my neighbors. You kidding me? I knew who lived directly across the street from me, and all those houses right next to theirs, and my next door neighbor, and I could tell you I can still see, in my mind, all the houses that used to be there. The street's still there. The houses, a lot of them are gone, but yeah, I could go back and I could tell you every single person that lived there, literally. It was a very tight knit community. I'll have to give you that. So, yeah, there you go. So, whew. Well, anyway, I wanted to let you guys know that I have been continuing to work on my Did You Remember Everything Part 2 book. It will finally come at some point. There's just a lot of work that has to be done on it. And because I'm presenting a lot of stuff that you didn't expect me to present, boom. But it is on its way. Just be patient. It's coming. Everything comes. You know that. I will, in about 10 or 15 days, I will get back on the air and I will talk about the stereo speaker, heater, air conditioning thing. I will probably try to cover more about solar panels, that kind of thing. And I'm going to cover all this so you know what's going on. I'm curious, did you ever complete the double dollar font? Haven't had time. Just literally have never had time. I need to set up templates on my other computer. I have a computer with Linux on it, and I need to use the Exist program, which it doesn't work as well on this stuff. It doesn't work on Windows, but it does work on the Linux. And I will use it, and eventually we'll get it perfected. But my understanding of Bezier curves is not perfect yet either. So there you go. When I have more time, I'll devote it and we'll do it. But I just haven't had time yet. Ever get my partnership back, you dang betcha I'll get on there. So there you go. I see we have a third person in here, whoever you are. Hello. Glad you all came. Let me know in the comments here who you are. I'm always listening. But I hope, I really do, because of what happened with Duke Energy and what happened in the Carolinas over Christmas time, and I want you to research that and find out what really happened down there, because it's going to come as a big shock to you. I hope, based on that you go ahead and learn about these solar panels and learn everything I'm teaching you. You really need to know this. I'm serious. You really need to know. Let me tell you something. You can't read my Kindle books without electricity. You can't watch my YouTube videos without electricity. It's impossible. And that I don't want happening to you. So please take the time. Do what I tell you. It'll be well worth your investment. Invest your time. You're never going to regret it. Any plans to make more audio books? Here's my plan. Okay. Once I get my partnership back, I'm going to actually create a website of my own. And I'm going to pay a monthly fee for that. I really will. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to load exclusive videos and audiobooks onto that website. And that way you can pay me $1 or $2. I'm not going to, you know me, I'm never going to charge anything massive. If I do an audiobook, it's going to be like a couple of bucks, $5 at the most. If I'm charging $5 for written, I'm not going to charge any more than $5 for audio. I can tell you that. And yes, I would do that. I would honestly do that. And I would also put up exclusive videos. I know that you guys were, when they had the pay-per-view here on YouTube, I uploaded some videos about medical terminology. That would be one of the first things. I would complete all that and put it up there so you guys can memorize medical terminology. That's the same thing with the I've managed a Squarespace website for several years now. Let me know if you ever need help. You know what? If you're really good with Squarespace and you're able to generate income from it or whatever, I might just send you my audio clips of, Kindle books, that kind of thing, and you could put those on your Squarespace. We could make some kind of a deal or something, and I could make money from that. I don't know how all that would work. We'd have to discuss that. But if you could do it, I'd be interested, because I need a way to look. It is not about my living that's the problem. I have a job, so that's not the issue here. The kind of research that you guys are wanting me to do, that you want me to present here on this YouTube channel, I've got to be home to do it. That's just a simple way I have to do this. And on top of that, I have to get the books you guys want me to get. It's just that, like that. I could basically build my own website. I really can, because I have the technical know-how to do that. But in order to host it, that's a different story. And that's where the money comes in. And I know they got places where you could just pay them $5 or $10 a month, which would be great if I had $5 or $10 a month to do that with. I just don't. I got to survive somehow. And so these are the things I'm thinking about. Once I get the partnership back, yes, I could do something like that. So it's just time and trying to get these ratings up. That's all it is. Now, tonight, in the last live stream, I reviewed My Life from Billy Joel. You say, well, wait a minute, where was the separate video for that? Well, it's coming. I wanted to take a photo of myself holding up my Billy Joel CD so that I would have a thumbnail for that particular video. So it is coming. It just hasn't arrived yet. Right now, it's been scheduled. It should premiere on the 20th of January. There you go. So it is coming. But with that, I have covered a lot of material tonight. I hope you learned some stuff. You guys really need to learn some stuff. It was a big deal. The separate videos, as I've always said, when I do these live streams, I do the separate videos because I know that not everybody wants to watch an entire live stream just to find the material that they need. And sometimes I include illustrations in those separate videos that I do not include on the live stream. Sometimes I include it here, sometimes not. So what are we going to see in the next live stream? Yes, I am going to talk about the song Imagine by John Lennon. I am also going to talk about another chapter of Danica McKellar's Math Doesn't Suck. Eventually, I'm going to buy another one of her books and review it. I actually do have a copy of The Wonder Years. I have it all on DVD. I would love nothing more than just sit here, live stream after live stream, reviewing all the episodes of The Wonder Years. I'd love to do that, but I just don't have time. I don't. Get me the partnership back, and that's one of the things I plan to do. Amongst all the other things, like tell you more about computers, maybe learn the rest of that Bezier curve, maybe actually take an SVG class where I can learn about the Bezier curve and do it. I would love to do that for you people. But I need the partnership to do that. The books are expensive, and the time is just, I just don't have the time. So with that, let's see what we can do. I hope you guys enjoyed all my presentations. I would love to see what your commentary is on all of them. I like to see how much you've learned and what you're implementing and whatever. Let's do this. Let's just do this. All right. I will tell you more in my next live stream, which should come out roughly about the 20th of January. I can't promise the exact day or the exact time, but it will come out. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have a, well, before I do, there's now 3 people in my live stream. I want to see who's here, and then we'll go ahead and finish it up for tonight. Whoever you are, please, I know you're a little late to the game, but please let me know who you are. I'd love to hear from you. Just tell me who you are. I'm going to give you a couple minutes here to let me know who's stopped by. I'd love to hear from you. It's nice to see you guys. It's nice to see people in my live stream. It really is. But like I say, that's all I've got for tonight. I will be working on my Kindle book tomorrow, hopefully. Hopefully. We'll see. I don't know. You just take it one day at a time on that one. And then, like I said, we're gonna start talking about other topics in solar panels and in the computer tech. I'm gonna cover that. And like I said, I will cover another chapter of Danica McKellar's Math Doesn't Suck book. I am going to review a video from Where the Heck Are the Albans? That's coming up, and we're going to be seeing that periodically. So whoever's in this website besides, or this live stream besides Crazy Josh Cravey, whoever you are, please let me know. I'm here for you. Who are you? And thanks for stopping by. Anybody? Give you a minute or two. So, and for those of you wondering, I had a good Christmas. I bought the board game Jumanji. If you guys ever get a hold of that thing, it's a bizarre game. It's great. It's fun. It really is, but it's bizarre. Great stream, Ted. Thank you, Crazy Josh Cravey. Yeah, if you guys ever got a hold of that Jumanji game, it's a barrel of fun, but it's awful weird. I will tell you right now. Any interesting holiday events? Well, I have one story for you. I went to the Bricks Farm. Obviously, you saw that. But I actually went there before they had the light show that night. And I actually gave them a flyer about looking for Lincoln and told them all about me. And they're going to try to share my Looking for Lincoln stuff throughout the year to generate more interest in their presentation. And hopefully it'll, well, I like to use the word augment, but it'll increase the number of people that actually come to their place. And that's when it came to Taylorville, I went to the Christmas in the Park. The only problem is I forgot once again. I do this every year. I forgot to take a flyer with me to give it to them so that they would know what I was doing. But I'm sure they've pretty much figured that out by now. Anyway, some of the things I'm going to be doing this year, the gas is just too high right now. I'll have to go to the Stonington Summerfest parade and videotape that, which I'm thrilled to go, but I just can't do what I really want to do is go to Nauvoo and videotape their signs. Well, they have one sign. There's two. Lewistown has two of them. I got to videotape all three. I just don't have the means to get up there to do that. I'm just not wealthy enough to do that right now. And then, of course, there is also the Blue Mound Fall Festival Parade. And also, I will go once again to Mount Pulaski and videotape their parade this year. If I get extremely lucky, I might go to Warrensburg to videotape their fireworks. Other than that, I don't know. So, anyway, well, I think I'm going to end this live stream at this point. Nobody seems to want to say hello. I'd love to have seen them. But I really wanted to thank you guys very much for joining me and tuning in. Oh, I did want to mention that I have heard rumors about YouTube extending some of the partner features to people that are more like me, where I could actually put up a donation box or whatever to my videos. If they do that, I'll do that. We'll see, but I don't know. We'll have to see about that. I'm hoping it comes in 2023. I don't know. Have a good night. Yes, thank you, Crazy Josh Cravey, and I will tell you all more stuff in my next live stream, and it'll be very interesting. You've seen this, and you're going to be like, whoa, check this out. All right. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned.